South Africa has the highest unemployment rate in the world. Job seekers are on average spending around $50 a month just looking for work, keeping them trapped in an unemployment cycle. What if there's a solution that creates accessibility for them, not just to get connected, but to actually connect them to a sustainable career that starts ending generational poverty? That's what we attempt to do at JobJack.
Ground Up interview with Christian at JobJack.
Whilst finding article employment, between my studies at Stellenbosch, I found it really easy to, find article work. Maybe because it's in high demand because it's almost slave labor, but for my peers that were maybe studying something else, and those that were not studying something at all, it was really difficult to find jobs. And so that really struck a chord with me. And one day during my articles, my mother-in-law asked me if I can arrange a few of my friends to wait a promotional event for her. Afterwards, them and their friends started asking me if I have more of these opportunities. And so ventured into figuring that out a bit more, tested it quite a numerous amount of times, where I was the app or the solution, just the WhatsApp through me, and saw that there was really a need and a gap to be bridged. Asked my co-founder, Hein Bellingen, to join me on the journey, and that was 2018, and the rest is full of a colorful history. So JobJack automates the entire entry-level recruitment process. So currently, job seekers that don't necessarily have a qualification above high school or in excess of 2 years work experience are spending about $50 a month looking for work.
Previously, it's always been a very manual process with dropping off your CV at a store, having to find money to get transport so that you can get there. But what we found is job seekers don't have that money if they're already unemployed.
Our own surveys indicated that about 6 out of 10 people have to, on a weekly basis, decide between looking for a job and feeding their family, right? And so you're feeding into that cycle of unemployment, whereas with the businesses, they only expose the people that can actually afford to get to them.
Most of the times when you're an unemployed job seeker and you're dropping off your CV, you're just getting added to a very long list or a very big pile of CVs that have already been dropped off.
And they're hiring just the first kind of best person that's popping up. But in actual fact, it's really not what that person, should or could be doing. And in 3 or 6 or 9 months, they just leave. And so that cycle continues and continues. And so we've really had to kind of adjust our approach and put ourselves in the shoes of our job seekers and see how do we guide them and prompt them on a consequence for action basis. Just take the next step and know that this is going to be the consequence. And
what we're doing is we're just automating that process, making it so much easier for them just to hop online, to be able to fill out an application form, whether it's answering some questions or completing their profile. We actually have resources on our platform that really help job seekers to prepare for interviews. So certain kind of questions that they might be asked and allow for them to prepare beforehand, and that's there permanently. So whether they have an interview upcoming or maybe they haven't had any interview requests yet, it's something that they can review in our resources section, and on certain kinds of service providers been able to do that free as well for them on MTN and Vodacom, and just streamlining that process for South Africans, which, as we know, we do have a really high unemployment rate, and so what we want to do here is make a difference in our own backyard.
And on the other side of the spectrum, we are automating that process for the employers as well. So they can see 1,200 people applied, but they only have to look at the top 10 or 20 people that actually met that criteria. And that criteria, started off with us just looking at location or matric or maybe some work experience, but we've really started delving deeper into that. So we've built our own psychometric assessments, which really speak to this market. And it's been incredibly insightful to see how you can actually start placing someone not just in a duct tape solution opportunity, but something that they can really start thriving in. That's obviously massive value add to the business, but there's also giving them a long-term career which starts changing generational poverty. It's not an easy fix, but it's a simplistic fix that just needs hard work and feet on the ground.
And we've seen the impact of it. We've heard the stories. We, have videos of the testimonials that have come through of how people have found jobs really easily through our platform, just because we've connected the two a lot better than I think you trying to do it on your own.
Currently, we're sitting with around 2.5 million registered job seekers, with about 5,000 to 7,000 signing up every day, which just speaks to the desperation in the market. And we service around 5,000 employer sites across South Africa, and adding to that on a monthly basis. And the aim and heart is really to see this solution at scale, making impacting thousands of lives. One of the most important things founders should be looking for is value-aligned investors, because they're going to be sharing in the right types of victories and supporting in the failures that are inevitably going to be there. After a few months of traction, we actually had some revenue. We were able to justify an easier but very small family round, a family and friends round that just got us to that MVP stage. Then a few months later, we had some more traction, and so we went to go raise just a little bit more from an angel. And those are usually found through networks. There's a saying in Silicon Valley: if you want advice, go ask for money. If you want money, go ask for advice. But the heart behind it was really for us to go ask advice, and through that you get connected to the right type of people that are willing to take that risk with you. But each time, just small increments, because I think what a lot of startups do is they make this mistake in thinking they need X million to get to version 1. No, you need 100,000 Rand, just $5,000, and that'll probably get you 3 months down the line to X. You need maybe then another 10,000, and in that way you're not giving away too much, and you're still keeping yourself motivated. And so that kind of leads you to traction every time, raising a bit more and a bit more, up until a point where we were able to justify a seed round. But it was also, we intentionally chose the people that we wanted on board. We really took them on from a value share perspective, and I think if you surround yourself with people that are pressuring you to do the things that you don't believe in at your core, then that's going to drain you completely. By diligently building up these relationships, these intentional relationships, not from a point of needing funds, but from a point of actually seeking mentorship and advice, you start knowing who you can trust and who's really going to walk the journey. So by the time we wanted to raise funds, it wasn't a 9 months of our lives as founders. Yes, it takes quite a while to go through all the DD processes and so forth, but from our time as founders, we were pretty wrapped up, oversubscribed within a few weeks. You want to get to a place where you are, one, self-sustainable, but two, in a place where you can confidently go out to an investor and tell them, listen, this works. Like, this really works, and for it to work even bigger, we'll allow you to invest in this, to partner with us. And so it's a fine balance between just chasing profitability and chasing like true scale. But ultimately what we're chasing is massive scale. Our vision is employ the world. So getting to a fundraise such as the one that we did end of last year, of $2.5 million, so it's 45 million Rand, which is a lot. It is a lot, but it's what we need to kind of carry on with our growth. So from a massive change perspective, it really didn't change that much immediately. What it does change is your opportunity to go try new things. I think what it's really helped us with is to implement some of the core ideas that we've been thinking of for quite a while. So my co-founder and I were very intentional about what we wanted out of this company, right? First meeting we ever had, we set out the vision, the mission, and our values.
We brought in people who are passionate about what we are doing and how it impacts people on the day-to-day. So you might be a dev who might just be writing code, but you're also hearing about how your code has impacted someone else's life. So there's a constant connection between multiple departments and actually seeing the impact. Just this week, for example, there was one day where we had placed over 100 people that had found jobs. So you don't have to look very far in order to find motivation for every single task that you're doing, every project you're working on. And currently on a platform, we've actually got a big tracker where we can see that number constantly being changed and updated, and seeing the lives that we are affecting on a day-to-day basis.
Every time someone gets placed, it's amazing to see their feedback. We get the feedback, or we see it on Facebook or Google, where they're like, this has changed my life, thank you so much. Or I've been looking for a job for 9 months until I came across JobJack.
That salary often doesn't just impact one person, but actually a whole household of people. And obviously this means the quality coming in is good and can also allow for future growth of a job seeker. So they might start as a cashier, but they could end up being a store manager in a few years as well.
Our customers really stick with us. once they're on board, it's something that they know they can't go without anymore. You know, whether it be a store manager at KFC or whether it be, you know, the head of HR, you know, at, you know, company XYZ, has been, guys, this is not just saving us, you know, a vast amount of time and effort and admin, but it's really getting us people that, you know, that are better fit for what we need to do, that are carrying our brand better. And the aim and heart is really to see this, you know, solution at scale, making, you know, impacting thousands of lives. The pipeline is to, within the next year or so, venture out on the back of our existing clients into Africa. Not blindly so. We've seen, you know, that fail, unfortunately, time and time again. And so we're privileged enough to be able to have, you know, multinational clients which are willing to walk that journey with us. So the aim is Africa, the Middle East, developing world, and even first world beyond, because the problem exists everywhere. It's really a systemic issue in what is seen as entry-level recruitment efficiency. What excites us about Africa a lot is just the sheer will and hope that exists in this continent. Yes, there are a lot of problems, but yes, there are so many more solutions. And there's an eagerness, there's a readiness to take on, you know, problems that have just always been accepted. What the African nation, you know, kind of continent is doing is changing lives. It's really not standing back for any technology solution, you know, or waiting for a European solution or American solution. And ultimately, you know, kind of really believe in that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together.